So ladies and gentlemen, we just got the official trailer 2 for Shazam Fury of the Gods. So we're going to go through what the trailer shows us, which seems to be quite a lot, what we know about the movie, and I'll save my thoughts and overall review of what I think this looks like for the very ending of this breakdown. So if you go on to enjoy this, please leave a like on the video, and if you enjoy content like this in general, I'm sure this channel is for you, so do consider subscribing. But let's get right into the breakdown. So the trailer opens up with a shot of the realm of the gods, and from the behind the scenes DC fandom footage, we see that we will be spending quite a bit of time here with the old goddesses, with even concept art showing a statue of Atlas in the background of some sets. Now, I'm not sure if we're going to see Atlas in this movie. It's more than likely that he'll be referred to just in dialogue. It'd be pretty cool if we get like a flashback though, but also we then pick up with one of the daughters of Atlas getting off her mythological dragon creature, and this is Lucy Liu, who's playing Calypso. Now notice how she's holding the magic staff that belongs to Shazam. Now Billy Batson at the end of the first movie, if you remember, after imbuing his Shazam family with the power of the gods, he then broke the staff so it wouldn't be used in the wrong hands again. Now, we can't forget as well, just to remind you in that DC Fandom 2021 footage, that we saw the broken staff in a museum, likely in one of the locations that we'll be seeing in this movie, Athens. Now, I don't know whose bright idea it was to put the broken staff in a museum, but this is exactly how the Daughters of Atlas managed to reclaim it, put it back together, and in so doing, allow them to use it against the Shazam family in this movie, and more on that in a minute. Now this is when we see Calypso go on to thrust a golden apple into the grounds of this Philadelphia stadium. Now golden apples are referenced several times throughout Greek mythology. I believe they can grant immortality and stuff like that, but I'm guessing they're taking on a new meaning in the DC universe as a tool of the gods, unless somebody can tell me that they can also do this in Greek mythology. Any Greek mythology experts out there? But here you can see it's obviously an artifact that can bring about change in a terraforming-esque kind of way, wreaking havoc in Philadelphia. Now, this also summons these structures from their realm, and likely beasts as well that we know are coming, ranging from minotaurs, harpies, to dragons, and more. And the dragon fight looks like it's going to be one of the big boss battles, showdowns of the movie. So in Shazam Fury of the Gods, the Daughters of Atlas are on a mission. And what mission is that exactly? Well, as we hear Helen Mirren's character Hespera say, we are at war. We will annihilate everything. The champions of this realm can do nothing to stop us. And this is because they're very pissed that the children, the Shazam family, if you will, have the power of the gods. And they claim that you ripped it from my father's core. But more about that specific line in a little bit, because she's not exactly on about the Shazam family themselves there. It was somebody else. And then, of course, to highlight some of the light humor of Shazam, because these are pretty humor-filled movies, if you will, we see Billy Batson with Hespera taking on a threat I don't think he quite grasps the extent of. But he's quickly reminded of this overconfidence when Hespera kicks the living crap out of him and sends him flying back. This is when the trailer gives us a little bit of a recap as to what happened, and it seems kind of fitting because it feels like this movie's been in the works forever, with Billy saying a lot has changed in the past few years. A wizard gave me superpowers, and then everybody got superpowers, but the Daughters of Atlas are coming to hunt us. Now, notice in this shot on screen, we see Hespera using her powers to get rid of this black coating on this mythical golden apple, which of course we saw used earlier, and is somewhat used as this seed to bring about the destruction of the landscape near it. Now, this golden apple is likely from the realm of the gods, and speaking of the realm of the gods, we are going to multiple different locations in this movie. So not only the realm of the gods, and Athens is what we've already been over, but of course the Rock of Eternity and the Library of Eternity. So it's going to be pretty cool to see quite a few larger set pieces in this movie versus that of the first Shazam. But the mythical golden apple is not the only tool of choice that the Daughters of Atlas will use to get the powers of Atlas back. We have to revisit the magical staff now. So here in the trailer, you can actually see it being used against Freddy. So with the magic staff put back together, just as it imbued the Shazam family, it seems that the Daughters of Atlas can actually use it to take away their Shazam mode. We can also see this happens to Mary later as well, and it seems like she was in mid-flight because she's falling and almost falls to her death but gets rescued by Billy. So the magic staff seems to be a very important artifact in this movie, and it's likely we'll see it wrestled between multiple characters throughout the events of the film, as we also see it wielded by Billy saying, "You want these powers? Come and get them." But more on that in a little bit, because I have a bit of a theory with how the ending of this movie might go with that, with what we see in this trailer. But one other very interesting part of this movie to keep an eye on is Rachel Zeigler's character, of whom is another daughter of Atlas known as Athena. Now it seems as though she grows close possibly to the group, or at least Freddy in particular, and I wonder if she gets sent in advance of the other daughters of Atlas to scope out the Shazam family, as we see her get to know Freddy a little bit in the DC fandom preview. And when you mix that in with some of the scenes we get in this trailer, we see Freddy get taken by the Daughters of Atlas, and where they've also put up this more or less bubble shield over the city to prevent Billy from rescuing him. So they've likely taken him hostage until Billy voluntarily trades the power back for Freddy, but this is likely where maybe that Freddy will bond with Athena. Athena could obviously be very, very crucial in preventing her sisters from taking back the powers of Atlas and destroying the Shazam family and also the world in turn. They just don't care as long as they get the Shazam powers back. Throughout the events of the movie, it's fairly obvious that the Shazam family, while regrouping, will have to learn a lot more about the Daughters of Atlas, their powers, using the old wizard's lore, such as we see Mary Bromfield sat here researching and saying, "I don't know how we fight powers like this." But the next most interesting aspect of this is the old wizard and the scenes that we see of him. Now, we've seen the old wizard in previous teasers as well, somehow, considering once Billy took over, the old wizard disintegrated into a bunch of dust. But obviously, I think they're going to establish quite a bit of a link here, and this actually fits in to what the Daughters of Atlas have been doing, likely for quite some time. Now, remember when Hespera said earlier on in the trailer that you ripped it from our father's core? Hespera is likely talking directly to the old wizard here in the realm of the gods, and it could be that the Daughters of Atlas have been trying to reclaim the power of the gods for quite some time. It's just that we haven't seen that behind the scenes from the first movie to the second movie, and along their investigation they somehow came across the old wizard and they interrogate him as to where these powers lie now, as the scenes of the wizard match up to locations of that of the realm of the old gods. So yes, likely he's been put behind bars there, interrogated a little bit, and that's how the Daughters of Atlas learned to come to Earth. I'm not saying he gave them up, but I think all of these scenes are linked. Now, amongst that regrouping talk and trying to figure out how to take on the Daughters of Atlas, it's also likely that the Shazam family will go to the realm of the gods to free the old wizard from his imprisonment, or perhaps it could just be from the route of trying to go there to free Freddy. They also then stumble across the old wizard and free him as well, which is then when he joins the fight. So after these events, with the scenes that we see in the trailer, we even see Billy saying to the old wizard to take his powers back, as he likely doesn't feel qualified to handle this threat as the new Shazam, which is most likely going to be one of the main themes of the movie. This is when we see the old wizard give Billy a bit of a pep talk, and I'm wondering if this is near the third act of the film, as he bolsters him up by saying that he has spent a millennia searching for a worthy champion, and he knows that Billy knows exactly what must be done. So it's good to see that the old wizard believes in Billy, and we can see that Billy does begin to believe in himself, because he plucks up the courage to what seems to be a final fight featured towards the end of the trailer, with Calypso saying, "We end this now," back in the stadium, where Billy rises up in power, equipped with the magic staff. Now, going back to what I was just teasing about the theme and what this movie could be about, and even though we have the Shazam family in it, it's still called Shazam. So with these events unfolding, it could very well get to the point of where it could solely be down to Billy Batson to fix all of this. After all, as I just said, it's called Shazam Fury of the Gods, not Shazam Family Fury of the Gods. Now, going back to what we were saying earlier, we do see more scenes of more or less all of the Shazam family depowered, riding on some mythical beasts, like rallying them to join the fight and still try and do their part despite being depowered. So even after the first movie, yes, even though we have the Shazam family, and don't get me wrong, we'll likely see them in action doing their combined Shazam family superhero saving scenes, balancing their lives with being superheroes as it was teased at DC Fandom, but by that final act of the movie, to get to the bottom line here, it might not be a tag team Shazam family situation that saves the day, but rather just Billy himself and believing in himself. And I can see a couple of different possibilities as to how this can go. So possibility number one is where the Daughters of Atlas have reclaimed the powers back, and that's why we see the Shazam family depowered across several scenes in the trailers. Or possibility number two, Billy himself could take back what he gave to his Shazam family to boost himself up in order to take on the Daughters of Atlas at the full height of power towards the final showdown of the film to then save the day. I mean, it could go either way, but I do kind of see it with everything we're being teased, all of the Shazam family up until a certain point, with what I feel to be obvious last act scenes all being depowered, that Billy completely like roids himself up, believes in himself, and then has the pure might and power of the gods put into one vessel to then take on all three of those old gods. I know that sounds a little bit predictable and cliche, but, you know, I've got a feeling it might go down that route, but let me know if you have any expanded thoughts on that. But that is more or less, I think, everything that this trailer shows us, and me trying to connect certain dots together from previous trailers, previous previews. So what is my thoughts on what this trailer, this official trailer 2, had to show us? Well, I think it does look like quite a bit of fun. I know already just from some reception that people are like, oh, I don't care about this, I won't be seated for this. I think it's just, you know, Shazam is meant to be like a fun, young, spirited type movie. Say what you will about the first one, but this one does look like it has a lot more action sequences, way more set pieces, obviously, and it seems to be like way more of a spectacle versus that of the first movie. So it looks like Warner Brothers did pump a lot of money into this for it to be an entertainment thrill ride. But at the same time, with my experience with Black Adam, when you get a lot of spectacle, it does carve out a lot of other things in things like the writing, maybe other things that you would like to see concentrated on, like some character development. Now, I'm not saying it's going to go down the same road as Black Adam, and I'm not saying that movie wasn't entertaining, it just lacked sorely in a lot of other areas, and I'm hoping that Shazam 2, Fury of the Gods, won't make those same mistakes. I do love the inclusion of the old gods here, and despite this movie having a Shazam family in it, and I'm sure we're going to get some awesome scenes there of them being powered up, it will likely be more about Billy really coming into his own as the worthy champion that the old wizard knows him to be, with him single-handedly taking on the threat successfully by the end of the movie, possibly, maybe, going down the route I had with my theory. So let me know what you guys thought of this Shazam Fury of the Gods official trailer 2. Do you like the look of it? Are you concerned about certain parts of it? Do you think it looks like a fun time? Do you absolutely hate it? Honestly, just let me know either way. If you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate a like. It helps me out so much. Maybe consider subscribing for more breakdowns just like this. We've got major DC news coming out from James Gunn about his upcoming DCEU Chapter 1 plans, so I'll be doing a lot of breaking down when it comes to that. So that's absolutely everything, guys. Just thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you, Shazam family, in the next video. Goodbye.